Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining in for the Love, Lies, and Danger workshop. I'm Simran, your co host for the day. I work with MindTribe as a counselor. I have previously done my master's in clinical and health psychology. As a counselor, I have supported clients with depression, anxiety, relationship issues, body image issues, and other challenges. I strive to make the therapeutic space a safe and non judgmental one. Together, we can make therapy a space where you heal, grow, and overcome your hardest challenges. Now, before we start the workshop, I would like to explain some ground rules. Please keep your mics muted and cameras switched off at all times. If you wish to interact, you can use the chat box or raise hands button to ask a query or to interact. Recording or transcribing this workshop is strictly prohibited as this is a property of MindTribe. So please do not use any transcription tools or screen recording for documentation. That was all for the ground rules. Let's start the workshop now. Debarka.
Thank you so much, Simran. Guys, please feel free to use the chat box at any time. I will be seeing it, but if there are a lot of messages, don't worry. She will be on it. She will reply, and you're in good hands. So, welcome to the workshop. I'm so glad all of you guys have turned up here. I'm so happy to see all of you here on a Sunday coming on for a workshop. Not that it's not going to be an amazing way to spend our time, but Sunday time is important, and you're giving that time to us, so we appreciate it. Before I actually start, I want to hear a little bit from you guys. Can anyone tell me what they think this workshop is about? You can raise your hand, you can try to answer in the chat box. Does anybody want to tell me what they think this workshop is about? Do you want to type it? Or you can, just. So Anamika says, I guess how to not fall for a person who's not right for you. That is very relevant. Thank you so much, Anamika, for answering that. That is actually a very relevant topic for us. That's true, Sejal. It is love, lies, and danger. Relationship issues. Yes, we will be discussing plenty of that. Building better love relationship. Of course, that is what it is all about. Relationship management. Perfect. Yes, all of you guys are right. This is everything that we're going to cover. These are very relevant things. Um, so thank you so much for your answers. Thank you so much for coming. I really think this is going to be something that we can make worth. Simran already went toward the ground rules, but I want to just really emphasize that I want to hear from all of you. I want to listen to all your thoughts. I want to listen to all your feelings. So we'll follow the queue system. Whoever wants to unmute, just raise your hand right away. I will call on you. Please share whenever you want to, and we will respect what other people say by keeping whatever they said is confidential. We will not repeat whatever they told us to people outside of this workshop, right? And we will not interrupt them. We will not judge. We will not criticize. These rules are there so that all of you feel safe and comfortable. I want you to use this space to be genuine, be vulnerable, ask whatever you think about. We want to take a deep dive with everybody's consent here today. I want to listen to everybody's contribution on the topic. Any questions, feel free to ask. Even now, you can raise hand or use the chat box. Everybody good? Please give me a thumbs up if everybody thinks we are on board. Tika. We will come to these questions little later in the workshop. We have to get started with a little bit of the basics. Please remember your questions. Ask them again and again. We will ask for questions, and I think you will find that it will be like a more relevant time for you to talk about all of this. Thank you for all your guesses. I really like all the guesses. So, thank you for your participation. I really like all the important, relevant things you guys have already told us today, and it's very relevant to the discussion we're going to have. Now, the thing with romance and dating, it is that we know what it is, but there are different aspects to it. So we have to start talking about some of this, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click, and if you relate to, the feature, whether you find it attractive, then give a thumbs up. So who all finds good listening skills attractive? You're already getting a lot of thumbs up. Yes. Yes, Lana, you wanted to say something? No? Okay, okay. Uh, What about gestures and actions? Okay, we're still getting strong tone of thumbs ups. What about passionate and ambitious? You want that person to be passionate or ambitious? Quite a few of you. Emotionally vulnerable and sensitive. True, that's also a very popular trait with everybody. Supportive and admiring. Of course, we need our partners to be supportive of us, right? And admiration. Playful and funny. Which is commitment. But commitment is variable. It can be, you're just flirting with somebody for the first time, or you could be married with 3 kids. But what are we going to talk about? All of this is going to be covered like in, the entire spectrum of it. Does that make sense? Can I get a thumbs up? You understand what romance and dating is? Thank you so much, guys. So it so happens that it is actually really common. 1 out of 4 people worldwide, experience abuse in relationships, and 1 out of 3 people in India experience abuse in relationships. It happens to everyone. It's all around us, but we don't even know that it's happening, or what can be considered abuse, what can be considered manipulation. We don't know these answers, but it's so common, which means that this kind of workshop and education is so important, right? Like, we have to understand what it is. So what does abuse and manipulation actually look like? If you guys have any questions, if you want to share, if you feel like you relate to any of this, then please feel free to interact. The first thing is that sometimes, do you feel your partner is unpredictable or volatile? They switch between being angry and upset, and suddenly being very affectionate and sweet rapidly and extremely. Yes, conveys mixed signals. Anybody else? Do you feel like this happens, that they suddenly switch? Like, sometimes in an argument, sometimes people do this. We are getting some agreements. Thank you. We all have different traits, because we haven't learned exactly how to communicate our feelings and understand our feelings. But it's always a journey of growth, right? It's not perfect. Nobody's perfect, but that's why we have these therapy workshops, because we can keep getting better and better and better, and keep learning and keep learning how to understand our emotions and address them better. So yes, very important questions being raised here. It depends on the person's treatment, how they treat you, maybe. Yeah, exactly. So, somebody says something, it can evoke a reaction, and we keep kind of if somebody is unpredictable, volatile, you feel like, why are they being angry? And then you feel like being angry, and then both people are validly agree, and then what happens? Accountability, blame. Yes, I'm so glad you guys are talking on the chat. Please keep going on. I'm sure Simran will also help you out with some of your queries. Please keep going. I hope you guys get to share a lot about your experiences with each other and with us. Do you feel like there's a lack of safety and trust between your partner? Do they lie easily? Are they crossing boundaries easily? They said something they won't do, but they might do it, and you don't completely trust whether they'll stick to it. Are they controlling and interfering? Are they trying to control what you do, how you present yourself, like how you look or how you talk or how you speak, and who you're hanging out with, whatever you're doing? Like, are they trying to control all these different aspects of you? Do you feel like a burden in the relationship? I think this is something that a lot of people, especially clients, come to us. Everybody, across the board, sometimes feels like your needs and wants are unnecessary. What if I'm irritating? I'm always being sad. Will they listen to me? But actually, everybody wants to talk to each other, and everybody wants to, be there for each other. But they feel like, what if the other person? The other person is getting tired of me. Do you understand? Are we on the same page? Give me a thumbs up if we all are, going together. Feels entitled or trophy. Yes, we're going to talk about, one-sided relationships and, the balance of power in relationships and everything. Conditional love. Do you feel like you have to agree to some expectations just to convince them to stay in the relationship? Like, if I don't do this, if you don't do this, then the relationship will end, and then you have to behave a certain way, you have to act a certain way, do something a certain way. Conditional love is conditional. Dismissive or invalidating. Do you feel your opinions or how you're feeling is not important? Are they being dismissed? Whatever you're saying, is it actually being respected and heard and understood? Thank you guys. You guys are covering really, really important points. If anybody wants to ask a question or share something, please raise your hand. Does anybody want to share anything? Talk about any particular aspect? Yes, please go ahead.
So I initially missed the first 5 minutes. So I just want to know that what was the question that everyone has written, that building better love relationship, about relationship management. Could you just give me a
It
brief?
was about what the workshop is about. The question was if
Oh, okay,
what
okay.
people's ideas are, what the workshop is.
Great, great. I
You,
think yes. Then I'm following.
hmm,
Thank you.
of course, no worries. Does anybody have anything to share about anything that they, that they relate to, or any of the things that the questions you guys are asking on the chat? Anybody wants to bring anything particular to our attention? Okay, so if everybody's on the same page, give me a thumbs up. Thank you so much, guys. Okay. So, what counts as abuse? What we talked about all of these different things, and there are some known ways that we know. Like the physical hitting, obviously, is abuse. Sexual violence is abuse. Without consent, any kind of sexual advances, that is abuse. But what is lesser known? Even if it is in the same category. First of all, if somebody says that they want to use contraceptives, so the other person forces them or pressures them to not use contraceptives, then that is also sexual assault. This is a very not known knowledge. We think that not talking about contraceptives or whatever whatever the agreement is, it is completely devoid of any pressures. But these pressures are also very important, and there has to be ongoing consent. If you give consent once, that doesn't just keep going on forever. So the other person has to at any point can say stop, and you have to stop because that is the agreement. The ongoing consent is the at every moment you're negotiating with each other what your closeness is, and respecting each other's boundaries. That is how we actually get closer to each other. So, pressure to use alcohol and drugs is also considered physical violence, actually, according to legal and health definitions. A lot of people don't know this. Some property damage, somebody's property like their car or their whatever they own, if you're damaging that, that is considered physical violence. Is there some indirect, but we recognize that this also counts as abuse sometimes. That verbal, insulting somebody and saying mean things to somebody, emotionally damaging somebody, hurting somebody on purpose, financially, isolating them, making sure that their financial power, make sure that their partner can't do anything that they don't want to, because maybe they're the only source of the financial support. But did you also know that targeting somebody's self-esteem, telling them that they're not good enough and they will not be worthy enough of any love or anything good in life, that is also manipulation and abuse. Socially isolating people, that is how manipulation and abuse works in huge degrees. They isolate their victims, they take them away from their friends and support. And even digitally, having somebody's consent before you post about them is not something that we consider, but it can be under the proper circumstances abuse. Have you? I know this is a lot of different concepts, but I think what we want to do is make it a little more relatable. So again, I want to do the similar exercise with you guys. Please give me a thumbs up if you've heard these sentences or said these sentences before. Okay, so you're overreacting. It was just a joke, right? If you love me, you would do dash dash dash. You would do this for me. You would be like this. You don't care enough to try. You're not you're not trying hard enough. You made me do this. Why did you do this? You made me do this. You should like it. You're somebody who would like this, so you should like this. So many thumbs up. Thank you so much, guys, for sharing. I really appreciate it. I know these are really again deep topics, but everybody coming together, everybody all of us on the same page. I'm really really happy about this. So let's reflect. We just talked about, have we heard this? A lot of people said yes to, if you love me, you would. So, in what context have you guys heard this? Have you heard it when, if you love me, you would do something you find unpleasant? You find something unpleasant, but you have to do it because, if they are asking you, if you love me, then you would have to do this. And then you feel like you have to do something unpleasant. This happened to anybody? What about not take space or time away? I imagine I say that I want to take some space or time away, and they say if you love me, you would not take space or time away from me. You will keep being here. If you love me, you would choose me over your interests or other relationships. Right? If you love me, you would appear or act differently than how you think is right. You think that it's right for you to behave in a certain way, but their argument is you shouldn't behave like this because if you love me, then you would not behave like this. Quick ad break. Thank you guys for sharing so much. I just want to quickly tell a little bit about MindTribe and counseling before we move on the rest of the session. Just like YouTube, because this is free, we have a little bit of an ad. So what is one-on-one counseling? It is personalized confidential session between a client and trained therapist. So at my tribe, there are a lot of us who are trained psychotherapists. We have learned a lot about psychology and neuroscience, and we definitely can help you with all your questions and understanding how to navigate life. And anybody who wants to be healthier version of themselves, a better version of themselves, can come here. You can gain insight into your thoughts, behaviors, and emotions. This is awareness. You can address specific issues such as anxiety, stress, or relationship problems. You can work towards professional and personal goals with the support of a counselor. So some counseling misconceptions. There is a misconception that counseling is only for those who are for weak. Reality is that counseling is for anybody who wants to be their best version. You can have better relationships, more friends, academic success, and career advancement. And MindTribe has a lot of different options. Highly talented counselors. If you can get from 500 to 5,000, whatever your range is, and you can try any counselor just for 99 rupees, and even have packages. So please consider counseling for your own needs. If you have any urgent questions, please ask right away. Let me see some of the things that have been talked in the chat box real quick. Mixed signals are a bit of strategy. Yes, you guys have actually had a really good discussion amongst yourself also. Chatra, could you please tell me which slide you're referring to? Well, then I'll see telling cheat simply because we. Yes, please go ahead.
I was just asking for the previous slide in which we're talking about let's reflect. Yeah. Thank you.
Of course, of course. So how do we technically simply because we want space to invest in hobbies and interests outside the relationship is also definitely yes. I'm so sure. I was so sorry. This is happening to somebody. How do we differentiate these actions intentions? Because sometimes some of these things are usually a given in the relationship, like putting your partner before other people whenever needed, changing ourselves for better in order to be a good partner. Of course, really, that's a really good question. Thank you so much. It is really difficult to understand sometimes, and it's really confusing sometimes. But if you're aware of our emotions, if you're aware of what the emotions in the situation are, then we know if the boundaries are there to control us or whether the boundaries are to protect ourselves. And it's okay to have boundaries to protect yourselves, but if you feel like somebody is controlling and somebody is making you inauthentically be somebody you are not, somebody is toxic, draining and poisoning your energy and not letting you function, then it's kind of a smarter decision for both of you maybe to handle that situation in a different way. The thing is that Sejal, I would say the same thing to you that I just mentioned to Preeti that maybe it's not necessary that two people are bad. Okay, it might be that we trigger each other, and a lot of times this is a bit of psychology research also, but we tend to find partners who emulate people we have seen in our environment. So sometimes we pick up people who might trigger us, and this is a constant problem. It's called the hedgehog's dilemma. You want to get close to each other, but you can't help but poke each other with your needles. Hedgehogs have needles, right? So the problem is that unless we learn how to take accountability for our feelings and learn how to work together and grow together, then we won't be able to get close without hurting each other. If you feel like being close to somebody is hurting you, then it might not be good for you. It might not be that you are a bad person, they are a bad person, but if it's hurting to be close, then it might not be good. Anxious avoidant. We will actually come back to that question, Preeti. Thank you so much. We will. I think it will be a little more relevant, little down the slides. We really have to get moving on. So yeah, exactly. So I will actually mention something about it. We have problems. Everybody has problems, but taking accountability and being having good, healthy boundaries is something that you can want and should want in relationships. But let's move forward a little bit with the material, so we will be able to answer a lot of your questions much better. We will talk about the stages of love, lust, and lies. The different cycles that we see. So first, you might be imagine in an unfamiliar new environment. You don't know this place. You don't know how it works. These people, you don't know the people there because it's a new place. You don't know what the rules are or anything. Uh, but you find somebody who is giving you some kind of initial support and charm. They're like nice to you. They are being helpful. So you are obviously drawn towards that person, and they seem dependable and trustworthy, so that you can get closer and get attached to that person. But then maybe when there are sudden volatile arguments out of nowhere, there can be some kind of a fight about something, and the language that we are using becomes very blamey and accusatory. You did this to me, because of you it happened, and you start literally accusing each other, and becomes not you guys versus the problem, but me versus you. And because they're volatile and unpredictable and they're blaming and accusatory, they might even say hurtful words and do hurtful actions. They will say mean things, say things that put you down, or it's something that will hurt you. And in that moment, it feels like they feel like their anger is justified, because you did something wrong, it's your fault, and they are just emotionally dysregulated, and they say something, and then maybe they come back and show apologies and remorse, like, I'm so sorry for exploding like that and saying all those things, I don't really mean it, and then saying that things will be better, it's okay, it will be fine soon, and express love and affection, that don't leave me, I really love you, and showing that I can continue to be in this relationship. But sometimes we again go back all the way to the beginning of the chain. Does that make sense, guys? Are we all on the same page? Does anybody have any questions, anything that they want to address? Yes.
Hi, Debag. I'm so sorry again. The connection went. So you were just saying we will be talking about the love, lust, and something else, and then my connection went. So can I just want to know what is the slide about?
So we are talking about the cycles of abuse. People come into a familiar new environment. They initially find somebody dependable and trustworthy, but then there are conflicts, blames and accusations, volatile and unpredictable behavior. People say hurtful words and actions, and then they show apologies and remorse. They show hopeful future and promises, express love and affection, and be like, oh, everything will be soon better.
But I mean, is it a game that everything will be soon better, or do they actually mean it?
Of course, a lot of people can actually mean it, but in manipulation cycles, and this is something that we do see. Just apologizing and showing remorse, but then again getting angry, and then exploding, and then saying mean things again, and then saying sorry, sorry again.
Got it. Got
Whether
it. So, what
Yes.
was the topic? Because although you did say, but it just went quickly. That's why I couldn't
Stages
put
of
this
love,
into.
lust, and life.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Of course, no problem. Can we talk about the anxious avoidant attachment combo? Of course. So that does feature in what we are talking about. Being anxious of conflict, not wanting to face your own emotions or face the other person's emotions, might even lead you to avoid conflict entirely till it reaches that boiling point and then suddenly explodes. Till then, people are often even very passive aggressive sometimes. Sarcastic comments or taunts or jokes or like getting angry about something else which is not really what they're angry about, and these are all ways to cope with their emotions. People do this to cope with their emotions because we are haven't learned how to identify and soothe ourselves and then talk ourselves through the emotions, communicate our emotions to other people. So that is something that we need for healthier relationships, right? What if the person is not toxic but going through, yes, like I said, their mental illness might make them have a tendency to behave in a certain way. But if they are showing accountability, and are they actually trying to work through their triggers, or are they saying ki, oh, this is what I have, so this is how I am, so I can't do anything about it. Saying hurtful words or blame only when the other person disregards feelings, give up on love to make them stay. That aggression comes out of emotional dependency, not intentionally. So how far that person is wrong. This is exactly what we are talking about, right? Like, it's very difficult to determine how much wrong you are by doing something like this. People do a lot of things intentionally, unintentionally. Even then, they cause a lot of harm, even if they do it unintentionally sometimes. But that is, I think that moral judgment is not really my place to give. As a psychologist, what my real duty is to educate and understand the emotions that go behind this, and try to understand how the root problem can be addressed, how to handle avoidable behavior. Yeah, exactly. How to handle this kind of communication and what kind of communication we should expect is something we will definitely cover as a part of this workshop. Stay locked in. So some of the risk factors, let me quickly go through, how abuse looks like, is unhealthy boundaries, like we talked about, anxious avoidant boundaries, or, constantly checking in, not having uh, clear agreements on what is okay, what is not okay, and being too interfering or something like that. Traditional gender roles, maybe it goes both ways. Maybe you say that this is a woman's duty, so this is how a woman should act, or you say that women are always irrational, so you are dismissing something that the girl is saying by saying, oh, you're just being irrational right now, you're just being emotional. Sometimes it can be that, oh, if you aren't a real man, if you were a real man, then you would do this, you would if you were a real man, you would behave like this, and using that to impose some kind of an action on the other person. So that can also be a risk factor, how traditional gender roles are followed in that society. Is there a lack of support? If you're, like I said, why unfamiliar new environment? Because if you don't know people, if you don't have friends, then you make friends with one person, you become dependent on them, then it might become like an even more reinforced, difficult to get out of kind of situation. What if the whole position of power, they have some kind of status or power over you, and they can use that against you. Makes it hard. People feel they're unable to change. They're doing the best they can, what they know how to do. Yes, of course, but yeah, I hope everybody, we all have this hopeful approach towards human beings, and yeah, obviously, keep treating ourselves, educating ourselves, and becoming healthier and healthier. So let's reflect a little bit again. Have you ever felt like, I want to do something, but I'm afraid of the reaction? You want to do something, but you're afraid of the reaction your partner will have. Has anybody felt anything like this before? Does anybody want to talk about it? Give me a message, or even raise your hand and say something about it. Walking on eggshells, yes, very, very appropriate. Anybody wants to tell me something? Asking for help, expressing an emotion. You want to ask for help, but you're afraid that you will be seen as needy. Uh, I want to express an emotion, but I'm afraid that I'll be seen as, irrational, or I'm too clingy or too emotional. I want to pursue a hobby or interest, but I'm afraid that they will, judge me, or they will say, why are you not spending more time with me? I want to do some activity without my partner, but I'm afraid of my partner reacting and being like, why do you want to spend time away from me? I want to change something about the relationship, but I'm afraid of, how they'll react. How, if I bring up that issue, how they will react, what they will say. So we feel like, the reaction makes you feel like your want is not worth it. So you feel like you should just suppress that want. I want to be an atheist, but I'm afraid of it. Because of how what other people will say. I understand, Jyoti. Thank you so much for sharing. Actually, Jain, people take advantage if you show your emotions of vulnerability. There's always that risk, right? So we need to know who is safe and comfortable to actually open up with. Yes, we will actually cover, how to end a relationship, how to move over, how to let go of a toxic relationship soon. Sometimes people fear of being ghosted. Yeah, they actually do. There is a lot, unsaid, and people want to just reach out, but because of ego, nobody's able to be honest with each other. Nobody's being authentic with each other. If we just were able to communicate our feelings, maybe it would be easily solved. Clinginess and putting efforts are seen as a burden. I understand what you're saying, Ashley. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. Thank you so much, guys, for sharing. I again really, really important, really relevant feelings to what we are all talking about, right? It's about wanting to be authentic and wanting to be yourself, but you're afraid of that reaction. And at one point, we are asking ourselves, right, like what kind of reaction am I looking for from my partner? What do I want? What kind of communication skills do I want to have for myself and for my partner? I think again, it's not a moral thing, right, Sejal? If you feel that you are being shouted at and somebody's saying something again and again to you, and you are feeling uncomfortable, then where is that feeling coming from? Why is that feeling uncomfortable? Maybe there is something, in it to bring up, and we can always, try to test boundaries and try to test how it can go. So this is how we are trying to understand relationships, but relationships can be based on power, exploiting the other person, like we're talking about. We are using that fear against other people, but they can also be based on equality. They can be based on, imagine, say, a compromise and negotiation. You both reach mutually satisfying solutions. Instead of using pressures and threats, both of you agree to some common thing and stick by it. Safety and comfort. You have interest in each other's health and freedom to be themselves. Support and validation. You appreciate and respect each other's goals and opinions. You know what they want to do in life, what they are saying, how they feel like. You respect that. Honesty and transparency. You admit when you make a mistake. You share information and you are being open. Sharing responsibility, distributing work, doing the emotional work, such as going to therapy. Also, right, what we talked about, the accountability. People might say that, oh, I have this pattern, or I sometimes get angry and sometimes I shout, and I'm sorry. It's not that they're not sincere, but are they doing the emotional work? Are they going to therapy? Are they making, you know, learning how to emotionally regulate themselves and communicate, and are we all communicating to each other with that responsibility? So we'll just come to a quick case study here. I think a lot of you guys will be able to, see every, a lot of aspects of what we talked about here. Raj was a shy 18-year-old student who just moved to a new country for college. He didn't speak the language well and felt lonely. And he met Jordan, an older student who seemed nice at first. Jordan helped Raj with homework and explained things in class. But sometimes Jordan would joke around saying, "Your accent is funny. People probably think you're stupid." Raj laughed it off, but it hurt. Slowly, Jordan told Raj, "Your classmates are just pitying you," and got angry when Raj talked to other students. Soon, Jordan asked for favors: "Do my homework or I won't help you anymore." Later, it became, "If you were really grateful, you would kiss me." Raj felt trapped. Jordan had become his only friend at college, but also his biggest problem. He was too scared to say no, but miserable saying yes. Uh, Before we move on with the case study, there are some interesting things in the chat that I would like to try to, we have very short amount of time, so I'll try to quickly go through them. I'm so sorry that I'm not being able to devote enough time to all of this. Please stay back at the end if you have more questions and feel free to ask. Going to therapy is not enough sometimes. Yes, therapy words, using therapy words like these are my boundaries, and using that to control people, that is also something that happens. But we also, it's also on our part to go to therapy and be able to, stand up for ourselves, which is the, where we understand that, okay, this person is not using boundaries to protect themselves, they're using it to control me. And when we understand that, we can take a stand against that. Stop being the peacemaker and resolving fights, but I'm scared that if I don't take the first step, it will end the relationship. I completely understand, Lenita. Yes, this is very relevant to what we're talking about. Sejal, I think my co-host is replying to you on chat. While you guys have this amazing informative discussion, also please do answer. What are the problematic things that Jordan is doing? And how might Raj begin setting boundaries or getting out of the situation safely? And as Raj's friend, what could you say or do to help him? So, does anybody have any ideas? What is the problem? What is the solution? I'll show you guys the case study again. Yes, dominating the nature of Jordan. Conway, that's very true. Anybody else? Last Conway said yes. He's Jay also says Jordan seems to exert control over Raj. Exactly, trying to control what he's doing, how he's being. Judge Raj to be emotionally stronger, ignore Jordan's silly comments and judgments, take initiative to make new friends. Emotional resilience and making new friends. It's blackmailing Raj. He listens for some days. Definitely taking some time and space is a very good idea always. In self-check with how he's feeling on this relationship, take item for the same. Yes. Yes, thank you so much, guys, for participating. We are all on the same track. I think I'm really happy. Let's move on to the little later parts of this workshop. Jay says needs to have friends apart from Jordan. Yes, extremely important. Shivani says respects the friendship, is really grateful for his help, doesn't wish to continue helping him. Exactly. He can be grateful, but he can say that I don't want this anymore. Jordan taking advantage of Raj and manipulating him. Yes, definitely boundaries and expressing the discomfort. Expressing, yeah, expressing your, how you feel, expressing that you're feeling uncomfortable. That is extremely important. We need to have, we need to be very, very cognizant of whether we are comfortable or not, and always protect that. So first of all, what I want to talk about is loneliness as a health issue. If anybody missed it, this part is called the need for positive relationships. We all have a need for positive relationships because we are social beings, right? It is a health issue. It's not just in our minds. It's not just something abstract, loneliness increases the rate of aging. Yes, it increases the rate of cancers. It gives you more risk for cancer. It gives you more risk for neurodegeneration, Alzheimer's and memory loss at an older age. It kills your immune system. Your immune system for which protects you from diseases and sicknesses. There are studies that show that loneliness is as deadly as smoking a pack of cigarettes a day and twice as deadly as obesity. The health outcomes from loneliness is actually that bad. They tracked people, who reported feeling lonely over long periods of time and their health outcomes. And one of the prime things that psychology and research shows is that interpersonal relationships, satisfying, healthy relationships, close relationships, is one of the longest, best known predictors of human life and longevity of life. She asks, I'm so sorry. Yes. If alone mental health issue, which is why people don't hang around with them. Of course, a lot of us have, different issues, and not everybody, nobody has completely, top tier communication and emotion handling, but we all do, hang around and like try becoming friends and understanding each other and getting closer. And it's just that when we suppress this need and we do not acknowledge loneliness as a need, is that people do not reach out, people do not interact, and they give up, they withdraw, and that is what has extreme health negativities. Mr. Patekar thinks that loneliness is not a health issue. Of course, Rishabh. I will definitely send some references for the information that I'm listing here, so that you guys can actually see the research yourself and see what I'm talking about. That it has these how loneliness has these different biological health determinants. So we're talking about loneliness is far better than trust. Your trust being broken repeatedly. I get what you're saying. It is very difficult to go out there. It is also very important to learn to spend time with ourselves and love ourselves and love our own company. At the same time, it's also very important to have friends and have other relationships, not just romantic relationships, living in a community and having support. Of course, mental disorders have extremely severe problems around people around them, which is why going to therapy is something that we are advancing, right? Our main job here is that if you have BPD, if you have bipolar, if you have anxiety, you can come to us. You can get therapy. You can even get referred to a psychiatrist, take medicine. You can actually work on these things. None of these things are a permanent sentence for us to be a certain kind of way for the rest of our life. Loneliness might be bad, but solitude is lovely. Yes, I completely understand it. This is very true. Learning how to spend time with yourself and learning how to spend time with other people is actually not mutually exclusive. They're not contradicting each other. We have to learn how to love ourselves to be able to spend time with other people, and accepting the need and knowing what we need and want out of relationships, then having compassion towards it, accepting it as natural, not feeling guilt and shame about it, reaching out, finding out people in our community, meeting mutuals, and having healthy relationships. If we see something that is going wrong, we call out, we make changes without fear. So calling out whatever is going wrong or making changes without having any fear of losing other people, because it's okay. I am okay with uh, being alone also, and I'm also okay going out there and risking and trying to find people uh, to love and to connect with. Having both these abilities is something that we can work upon and develop. But this is not, this supportive and this kind of thriving relationship is not what we would definitely see in abusive manipulative relationships. That is not what they offer. That is not a solution to loneliness. They try to nurture dependence. They will say things like, you will not find anyone as good as me. They'll criticize you to make you feel hopeless and useless, and they'll make you choose them over your friends, family, isolating you, making you feel lonely, so that you feel like, oh, this is the only person that I can be close to, and I don't want to be alone. But exactly what you guys are talking about, right? Embracing yourself as a self-love, conquering loneliness, all of this is how we can see that these patterns are happening around us. And we recognize what is a nurturing and supportive relationship, one that we want to be a part of. And what is a relationship which is dependent, codependent, which we do not want to be a part of. Superficial grounds that ruins are engaging in any friendship relationship emotions. Exactly. So, talking about actually what our really emotions are, what our genuine authentic emotions are, who we are as people. That is something that we are missing in our communication. A quick thing that I want to explain, a concept that I think you guys will find very, very interesting. So far, is everybody on board? Everybody is still understanding? Not going too fast? Thank you for the thumbs ups. All right, everything is going good, right? Any problems, please immediately point out. All right, so game theory. I think this is yes. Ritika, please go ahead. Of
Could you please show the previous slide progress?
course.
Yeah, thank you.
That good.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
So let's start talking about game theory, guys. So this is an idea that imagine you and your partner are in two different rooms. If you cooperate and they also cooperate, both of you get 3 coins each. If one of you cooperates and the other one defects, then the one who defects gets all 5 coins. If both of you cooperate, win-win, 3 coins each, right? One of you cooperate, the other one defects, they get all 5 coins. Both of you defect, then it's a lose-lose situation, because it's you get only one coin each. You could have gotten more by cooperating. So this game theory, this is a very famous mathematical theory that has once been formulated, but now it can be seen everywhere, even in relationships. And I want you to understand and see relationships and negotiations that we are having and communications we are having from this point of view. We talked about power versus equality. An equality based conversation and attachment goes on a win-win dynamic, right? What we want is a win-win dynamic. So what we want is cooperation. Yes, can you hear me? All right, thank you so much. I just lost connection for 1 second. So yeah, if you're in a win-win situation, then what we will see is cooperation in relationships, mutual goals and interests. Both of you guys will have shared responsibilities and same, similar goals and interests. You will support each other's goals and interests. Sincere support means that you care about your partner's health and happiness, independent of yourself, even if it means that you don't want to you don't get to benefit. You still want the other person to have the best access to health, the best version of themselves, and live the best life that they can live. That is, truly respecting somebody. It's a two-way street, because there's a disbalance when one person is sacrificing and the other is benefiting, right? So one person gets 0 coins and another gets 5 coins. It's because you're exploiting the other person, and that's a one-way street. Is there a two-way street? Are you guys trying to balance out, your rewards and how you navigate the relationship? And the thing is that a really important part of the game theory is that you guys are in two different rooms, right? But what is the most important part of both of you guys hitting cooperate and then both of you getting 3 coins each? Does anybody have a guess? Okay, if nobody has a guess, I'll just tell you that it's trust, right? Because if you trust that the other person will also cooperate and you will also cooperate, then both of you can hit that green button. But do you trust each other? That compromise and negotiation, if it's actually on equal ground, requires there to be trust. How do abusers get away with their behavior in light of this game theory? There's a power disbalance, right? The abuse has more to lose by standing up for themselves, because if they stand up, if they try to rebel, then they might be pushed down. The abuser tries to cut off their resources, their support, putting down their partner's self-esteem and capabilities, making them feel like they are not worth it, and cutting actually their resources and everything, so that they cannot be independent and actually win on their own. uh, that so that they keep being in that power disbalance and keep getting exploited. Harmony, Kanvi says. Thank you so much. Yes, exactly. Trust and harmony. That's what goes together, right? So, what can we do? This is the very last part of the presentation. I'm so sorry that this has gone on over time, but just the last bit. Thank you guys for sticking around. We need to go for self empowerment, right? This is a huge part of what we have already talked about: being independent and resilient, being understanding your emotions and knowing what you want, knowing what you need, and then going for it, and then actually trying to, have that independent and independent life of your own. Individual therapy, one way is like whether we are reading books or going to therapy, but learning about life, learning about psychology, and understanding how to understand, like, be aware of our own emotions, regulate our own emotions. We talked about so much about people not being able to regulate their emotions and mental illnesses and how it plays out in conflicts, right? That's why therapy is such an important part of healthcare for an entire population. If people have a virulent disease, imagine you have a disease, like COVID, then it can spread, right? Just but if we are all vaccinated against it, then it will not spread. A similar way, we all know how to handle our emotions, regulate our emotions, communicate better, then we all can enjoy better relationships. So knowing ourselves, wants, needs, and limitations, seeking help and support is not separate from growing our abilities. We have to seek and self help. We have to give that help and get that help, because that is how humans in a community function. How do we build healthy relationships? We can go to couples counseling. There you can actually talk about the different problems that you guys are facing, and what is the communication patterns, and a therapist can actually listen to both of you, make you both feel understood, and then bring you to a common ground. Boundary setting, because this is what you need for going closer to each other. First of all, like I mentioned here, conflict is not bad. Controlling reactions and opportunities for growth are a good thing. We don't want to be reactive. We want to grow and keep uh, taking this opportunity to grow. We respect each other's boundaries, and it can lead to more and more satisfying connections. Because boundary doesn't mean walls which throw people off. It means ways to express ourselves and understand, make the other person understand what we are okay with, what we're comfortable with. And that is actually what leads to a deeper connection, not a distance. So, a lot of the things that we talked about, expecting better communication, what are some things that we can tell other people, or what we want to hear, what is the standard of relationship we want to be at. We might have heard this: if you really loved me, you would do this for me, right? We talked about this. Instead of this, what we want to hear is, I appreciate your support, but I respect your decision. I want, like, the person is expressing their feeling that what they want is the support, but they're still respecting that, they don't want to control the other person's decision. You're too sensitive. It was just a joke. I didn't mean to hurt you. Thanks for telling me how you feel. Instead of, blaming or accusing the other person that it's just a joke, why are you getting so hurt? Saying that, oh, I didn't mean to hurt you. And thanks for letting me know how you feel. Obviously, I won't intentionally hurt you. Diffuses the conversation, right? You always mess things up. I'm feeling frustrated. Can we talk about what went wrong? Instead of lashing out, expressing that you're feeling frustrated, and then trying to have a conversation about it, both of you. You owe me this after everything I've done. I want things to feel fair for both of us. You are not, it's not a conditional love that we are trying to get out of our partners, that you owe this because you did this to me, you deserve this. It's that you want to feel fair and an equal distribution, right? Equality over power is what we talked about, guys. Is everybody on board? Anybody wants to share anything? Everybody is understanding? Any questions? Please give me a thumbs up if you're all here. We're all on the same page. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for your participation. If anybody has anything to say, anything to ask, please feel free. Otherwise, we'll just do this one last grounding technique, because we talked about a lot of deep, emotions and everything. And I told you, oh, we have to be aware of our emotions, but that's easier said than done, right? So I'll just give you this handy technique that you can practice. I hope that, this sticks with you. So everybody, please get settled in, get comfortable, you know, feel a little bit relaxed, feel your body loosen up, whether you're sitting, whether you're standing, please. I hope you feel comfortable. So take a deep breath inside and release it, and feel sensations in your body. In your entire body, it's like you can scan it from your head to your toe, whether it's your neck, shoulder, chest, stomach, groin, thighs, calves, toes. There can be tightness, heat, some kind of restlessness. You're trying to move. Focus on that spot, wherever that tightness, whether the heat, whether the restlessness, any discomfort, anything you feel, any sensation. Focus on it. Bring it to the front of your head. Keep breathing. Keep breathing very, very calmly, and focus on that spot without losing, our breath. Let it be in that awareness. Let the sensation be there, and keep breathing. As we keep breathing and it's, there, our attention is on it, slowly, slowly, it gets easier to release the tension. And we can slowly release that tension in that sensation in our body, and understand what feeling it's telling us. And we can keep repeating this for different parts of our body. And now we can bring our awareness back to the room. So good job, guys. Thank you so much for coming. We have successfully finished a workshop on love, lies, and danger. Thank you so much for coming. I hope this was helpful. I hope I was of any help to you. And, if you're looking for personal counseling, please feel free to go through our MindTribe links. We will send those very shortly. And, I hope you really enjoyed the workshop. There's plenty of free workshops. I will definitely send you links for those as well. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask now. Thank you so much for those remarks. Anybody has anything to say?